Hey everybody, want to see how I created this beautiful design? Stay tuned and enjoy the video.
All right, everybody, Keith McGinnis here with KCDC Designs out of Eagle, Nebraska. What's up, y'all? All right, this is a meeting desk slash conference table. This goes between two walls. This is the peninsula that comes out. Customers and the salespeople will sit on either side, show their samples. This is a flooring and tile company. So, I did a couple sample boards earlier. Flash those, which really turned out cool. So I have mixed up. I have, what do I got? Oh, about 26 square feet. And I'm doing a little bit more than 3 ounces per square foot because I'm using 3 different colors for undertones. I'm using, I don't have to yell anymore. I got a wireless mic. I'm using Alumilite Black, opaque, very opaque. I am also using a very translucent Alumilite Black dye, and I have black metallic mixed in. And for those of you that don't know, the polycolor black metallic actually is more like a deep silver, and so that's why I mix it in along with the Alumilite dye, but very translucent. Then I also mixed up opaque black Alumilite dye, and then I added some dark bronze, which is also a polycolor mica powder. So I'm going to get these poured out randomly. When I've got such a large bucket like this, I like to pour it into a smaller bucket. I know I've got 48 ounces and this small one is 16, so I'll be able to get 3 of these out of here. For some of you that have followed me or watched some of my videos, I do have my whiteboard up on the wall, and I do have this design of this countertop laid out, as well as the lines of as far as the design or the pattern of which way this is going to flow. And it really helps me to have that up there. So let's start over here.
All right, so let's get those undertones poured out. I'm starting with my darkest color first, which is the black opaque dye. Then I will follow that up with the black opaque dye with the deep silver metallic added into it. And then I will add in the last color, which is the translucent black dye, as well as the black metallic. Black metallic added into the translucent black dye to darken it up, because to me that black metallic is kind of a deep silver. So I'm going to get all those colors poured out, and then you'll see that I'm going to address my edges. I really want to grease my edges, so as the design flows over, I want it to flow over very evenly, not to flow over in runs. To me, that has allowed me to get really nice edges and prevents those runs and possibly picking up any spray paint as those runs go over the edges. So if I've got them greased, then they flow over very evenly. Then you're going to see that I'm going to use my hand, and I'm just going to meld all of those colors in and really just filling in all of the voids. I don't want to mix the colors together on the surface. I really want to see a contrast between the different colors I have it in there. And it's difficult to see, but if you look close, you can see where they are very random, the different colors that are in those undertones. And then we're going to start adding in some veins. So the colors that I'm using for the veins are, I'm using champagne bronze, antique brass, hammered gray, and black gray. And this is using the chambers effect, where you're spraying the colors on there fairly heavy. And then you're going to use your popsicle stick or stir stick. And to me, what's important about this technique is using the flat of the stick. And you'll see how I kind of rotate it back and forth. So as I'm going one direction, I'm kind of dragging, and then I turn it as I come back the other direction. And I'm really just trying to work those paints into the resin, but I don't want to get too aggressive and over mix all of those. And it's really important when you're doing this technique to allow it some time to develop. It's actually it's really amazing the effects that you can get. You'll see also that when I'm putting these colors down, I will pick up some color from the vein that I've run. I'll pick some of that up with my stick and just run some kind of accent veins, if you will, in some of the other areas, just so I don't have vein, solid, etc. I just want to mix that up and just have some random smaller veins that are going to be in that project as well. And I think you'll probably see it when I do it here. The other thing you might notice too is I'm not running all of those colors from one direction to the other. I might have some here, I might have some there. Again, I want that randomness of how that's going to look. And so as I'm working those colors in with my stick, I think you're going to see it in this picture anyway. Yeah, there you go. So I'll pick up some of those colors and put those over into some random areas. A lot of times you don't see it as you walk up to it, but when you're standing over the top of it, that's when they really stick out. And to me, that gives it even more of an authentic look. So I'm going to speed things up here as I get the rest of the veins laid down onto the surface, because I'm not able to get some close-ups to show you where I'm putting them, but I'm being somewhat strategic. The front of that peninsula right there, this is in a room with walls on each side, so that's the first thing that people are going to see. So I really wanted those veins running over the corners and the front of that rock edge. That's going to be the focal point when these people first walk into this room to have their meeting. So that front edge was really important to me, and that peninsula is really important to me because that's where people are going to be sitting, and that's where there's going to be a lot of attention being paid. So as I finish up the veins here, I'm getting ready to, when I get done, so now I'm going to grab my Bondo spreader. I saw Rhonda use this technique. So I'm going to grab my Bondo spreader, and as I work that Bondo spreader, I'm twisting it just a little bit, as you can see, as I go through that Chambers Effect design. I'm going to twist that Bondo spreader just a little bit, but I'm not going to do it through everything, because that Chambers Effect, the cells that it creates, is just too cool, and I want to be able to have some of both techniques showing up. So as you can see, I'm just very lightly touching down, if you will, with the Bondo spreader, and then I'm twisting it a little bit from side to side. I did that on the sample boards, and it really, really turned out cool. Again, it's so important to make sure that you allow this design and this technique some time to develop, because of the amount of spray paint that you're putting on there, and then working with the Bondo spreader. Give it some time to develop, and give it some time to really produce the effects that I was looking for. And I really didn't have to do anything after that. So here's a quick shot again of a close-up of the sample board, so you can see what that's going to look like from using that Bondo spreader. It really, really turned out cool. As you're working this technique, and other techniques for that matter, always be aware of the amount of air that you may be incorporating into your design, and grab your torch and torch periodically to keep those air bubbles out. All right, so let's get some accents running there.
the fun part, because they look cool. So we are using Seaside.
So when I apply my accent veins, I'm going to be using a fairly thin popsicle stick because I don't want to put a lot of material on there. Again, these veins are going to be accent, and this is a Rust-Oleum Seaside gloss that I'm using. It's kind of a turquoise-ish teal type color, but it's the same color that is in the customer's logo. So I'm speeding this up because you can't get any close-ups, but see how I'm running that vein right there towards the front of that peninsula? Again, that's the focal point of when you enter this particular room where this table is going to be at. And again, that's the first thing customers are going to see. And so that's where I really want that to stick out. And where you place your accent veins is completely up to you. That's where you're kind of stand back, take a look at the project, and you could put too many, you can put in not enough. It's going to depend on what the customer wants, and it's going to depend on your creativity of what's going to look the most natural and what's going to look the most authentic. And so that's what I'm trying to do is I don't want to get too much in there, but I want to get enough in there where it really makes a difference. And in this case, it did. The turquoise or the teal really, really pops.
Now, do I want to get crazy with this one? That's getting a little crazy. So what I did here is I'm using more of the flat of my stick. And this is more of an experiment than anything else.
And after I use my accent or run my accent vein, then I'm going to take my heat gun. And with these particular veins, especially being accent veins, I really don't want to open those up or move them around too much. What I'm using the heat gun for is just to take away that man-made look, just to give it more of that authentic look. And I'm moving them around a little bit. I'm opening them up in some areas. I'm closing up in other areas. Again, what I'm after is to make it look as authentic as possible and to take away that man-made look. And in this case, it really, really turned out nice, and I couldn't be happier with the accents. A little heavier right there on that end, which actually turned out really cool. So very happy with how those accents turned out. Here's a close-up of what it looked like after.
Wow. Wowza. Wowza, 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 wowza. Wowza. I'm done. I gotta walk away. It's crazy because I just don't feel like I can take credit for what this stuff does, because I've said it before, I couldn't draw a stick man if my life depended on it. And then you create something like this, and I mean, you just wonder, where does it come from? But that is just flippin' amazing. I don't care if the customer likes it or not, because if the customer doesn't like it, I'm gonna build a room for it. Oh, this stuff is so exciting. Wow. Sorry, that's just, no, I'm not apologizing. I'm saying that's just freaking cool. All right, so I'm going to change that perspective a little bit, and I'm going to say that I have never in my life claimed to be an artist. That is art. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It's just freaking amazing. You can't charge enough for stuff like that. I hope people, appreciate. That is just crazy. Crazy. We'll see what it looks like and how much of that flows around. But I really do, I gotta get a little bit right there. I really do try to plan out that I have my colors running over the rock edge, especially in high visibility areas. This area right here, this is what customers see right when they walk up to, in this little cubby that is their conference space and conference area. And so it was important to really have these edges looking nice.
So as I may have commented before, I really, really am happy with the way this turned out. The chambers effect, along with using the Bondo spreader to kind of enhance that effect, really, really turned out nice. So this is how, I believe this is after the flood coat, but it really turned out cool. Notice on that edge right there. So when I do a rock edge like that with a design like this, there are certain areas that I want to make sure that those colors are flowing over that edge. It really makes it pop. And the turquoise accents go so well with the brass and the bronze and the black colors. It's really, really turned out nice. See the cells that were created in that design? Those develop over time. That's why it's so important when you're applying the spray paint and working that in with your stick. Those cells don't develop right away. That's why it's so important to give those time to develop. Just move on to a different area, and in a matter of 5 or 10 minutes, you'll see those cells start to develop. And we really feel that's due to the propellants that are in the spray paints, and how they react and fight with each other is what caused those cells. It's amazing. And the Bondo spreader just really enhances that whole effect. So the last pictures to come up are after I had applied the ultimate top coat in the natural finish. Please leave me some comments below. Please share your thoughts. Don't forget to click the like button, and please subscribe for upcoming videos. Again, this is Keith McGinnis with KCDC Designs. Thanks, y'all.